Hello everyone and welcome to this review of the French Prestige edition of the film An American Werewolf in London from L'Atelier d'Images. On the program, the presentation of the film, the technical characteristics and some words about the restoration, the presentation of this edition and the image analysis with a comparative SDR HDR, and the conclusion. An American Werewolf in London is an American film by John Landis released in 1981. It is rather atypical film, which oscillates between comedy and horror and which allows us to see absolutely amazing makeup and a transformation scene that marked a turning point in the history of cinema. We are in 1981, there is no digital VFX, no 3D, everything is done live on the set with a limited budget and especially extremely difficult conditions for the makeup artists because the famous transformation scene takes place in a neon-lit room. No way to use shadows to hide the misery. The work done on this film is simply prodigious. It was worth to the chief of the makeup team Rick Baker, an Oscar created especially for the occasion. If the film was not a success, it has become cult over the time. The so particular tone of this film confused more than one. I rediscovered it by doing this review, and it's true that the film constantly oscillates between comedy and scenes of rare violence. John Landis is a director who was very productive in the 80s. He made some movies that were real hits such as Animal House, The Blues Brothers, Trading Places, Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop 3, and I also recommend the incredible TV series Dream On where he was producer and director of some episodes. If An American Werewolf in London did not meet the success expected at the time, it still particularly pleased an artist who hired John and part of his team to make a video clip, which was also a small revolution at the time. I'm talking about Thriller from Michael Jackson. Michael and John will work together again on black and white video clip, which was also a small revolution. The film was shot in 35mm with Arriflex 35BL cameras. Original sound is in mono, and it was remixed in stereo and 5.1, available in DTS and Dolby Digital. There are officially 3 masters from this edition. The Splendid edition has been produced by L'Atelier d'Images, a French publisher who offers through its online store films and prestige edition of high quality. This box set is the result of 2 years of work supervised by Pierre Paga, Nicolas Viguier, Hugues Pesson and Frédéric Tepper, and we can say that they put a lot of love into it. This team of enthusiasts has produced a magnificent edition that includes the film restored in 4K, the Full HD Blu-ray, a bonus disc, a 52 pages booklet on the creation of the film that contains the original press kit, a 44 pages booklet from SFX magazine containing interviews with makeup artist Rick Baker, a reversible poster, a lenticular of the transformation, 2 coasters, all in a beautiful box. This edition is numbered and limited to only 1981 copies. The film is also available in single edition. As I said before, there have been many editions of this film and there are several masters. This edition proposed today was made from the 4K master supervised by John Landis and provided by Universal. A new Dolby Vision grading at the request of L'Atelier d'Images was made by the French laboratory VDM. VDM who also took care of the encoding. The first disc contains the 4K version in HDR10 and Dolby Vision, as well as the commentaries of the actor David Naughton and Griffin. In the audio section, we find the 2.0 French track, a 5.1 English DTS HD track, and the original mono mix. The second disc is the film in Blu-ray from this remastering, and we find the exact same audio track. In the supplement section, we find a 97-minute documentary Beware the Moon by Paul Davis, who comes back on the film and making us rediscover some of the settings. I Walked with a Werewolf, a 7-minute 30-second interview with Rick Baker from 2009, Behind the Scenes, a 5-minute featurette from 1981, an interview with John Landis from 2001, about 80 minutes, a 40-minute interview with Rick Baker from 2001, a close-up module of the technique with the cast of the end of the actor David Naughton of 11 minutes from 1981, a 3-minute silent blooper reel, a module with storyboard compared to the film of 2 minutes 28 seconds, a photo gallery on the film music lasting 2 minutes and 53 seconds, the trailer of the film, as well as 3 trailers of films re-edited by L'Atelier d'Images. And finally, the third disc, which contains 3 exclusive extras from L'Atelier d'Images, an interview of John Landis by Jean-Pierre Lavoigna and Christophe Divoire of 21 minutes, a monster of the American cinema in England, an interview of the cinema journalist at the Point Pop Philip Gage of approximately 30 minutes, and the illustration in Heritage, an interview with the illustrator Gilles Join, who realized the illustration of this new edition. A documentary, The Mark of the Beast, The Heritage of the Werewolf of Universal, of 74 minutes, an interview of John Landis of 11 minutes, a module I Think is a Jew, The Secret of the Werewolf by John Spira, The Call of the Werewolf, an interview with Corinne Hardy and Simon Ward of 10 minutes, a module on the props used on the film entitled Where are the Wolves of 7 minutes and 38 seconds. In short, a tons of extra. Let's come now to the main course. So what is this new edition worth? I will show you some images from this 4K edition, as well as the version of the previous edition from 2010. For the technique, the bitrate oscillates between 15 and 115 megabits per second. I give you this information as an education, knowing that the data provided by the player, I'm not sure that they are 100% reliable, and especially the bitrate is not the only guarantee of quality in the encoding. There are a lot of parameters that come into the play when the encoding is done, that makes the image look good whatever the bitrate. Of course, if the value is very low, it becomes complicated. We agree. But keep in mind that you can't judge the quality of the image just based on the bitrate value. Concerning the light intensities, we have peaks between 800 and 900 nits. We can see highlights on the specular, on the jacket here, and on the makeup here, which increase the dynamic range of the image. The intensities are quite high, but we can't say that there is a lot of details. When we look at the frames in this image, the HDR version is very bright and saturated, but we can't say that there is a significant difference in terms of detail with the previous edition. We also have very dark image, really very dark. So much so that some lack details. When we look at this shot, it's simple, there is no more information in the blacks. Same here, this scene in the cinema, there is almost no details. Regarding the color volume, there is a clear difference. The HDR version looks much duller in many places. The color comes out much better in HDR. It's undeniable that the new master has benefited from a real facelift in this area. In comparison, the older edition looks really bad. Even the HDR conversion from this new master looks very poor compared to the HDR version. Now this new master has a major drawback, the noise reduction. There is a real loss of detail. It is especially visible on the first shots of the opening credits. There is a real lack of sharpness, and the result is quite disconcerting. I hadn't seen the movie from a long time, so I took out the 2010 version and it's all explained. It's a butchery. The quality of the 2010 version is, how can I say, very far from being satisfactory. Between the size of the grain, the noise, the stains, the washout colors, the very strong compression and so on, in front of such a damaged material, obviously the noise reduction can't do any miracle. The film is not very young, and we can say that the image has a really very dated look. The general definition doesn't offer a strikingly precise controls. We are on film stock, and this film is over 40 years old. On these opening shots, they didn't start from the original scans, but from the interpositive with the title on it, which had already lost in definition. It is likely that the basic material was far from being perfect. Perhaps due to the quality of the film at the time of the shooting, the poor storage condition, cameras and optic use, the reasons can be numerous. It is clear from the 2009 master that despite the best will in the world, it would be difficult to obtain a perfect result. To eliminate so much noise, unfortunately, it cannot be done without consequences. And inevitably, the details suffer. Everything seems softer and therefore inevitably less defined. On the other hand, we have a much cleaner image, and I'm not talking about the grain, but also about scratches, white spots that have disappeared, and some shots have also been stabilized. So yes, the image might not please everyone, but even if I personally like the grain, having an image as damaged as this one on the previous version would have strongly displeased me. It's a matter of compromise, and this new edition still gives the film a serious facelift. Indeed, most of the film is really well restored and allow us to rediscover the movie with a version that is certainly the best available to date in France. In conclusion, a luxurious prestige edition, tons of extra, an image light years away from what was available on our French territory until now. In short, the teams of L'Atelier d'Images have really spoiled us. I put the link to the store in the description. I'm not sure if there are many copies of this prestige edition left, but if like me you are a fan of this cult film, a collector, a fervent defender of the physical medium, and you want to encourage our local publishers, then this edition is essential. This video is now over, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and share. See you soon for a new video. Take care of yourself. Bye.